According to Mythos, 100% of you are subscribed. Good job! Hello there. Welcome to the third video of the series where we're going to be looking at the lore of every single curio that can be found within Star Rail. In this video, we're going to be going over the curios that can be found within the Swarm Disaster and Golden Gears expansion modules. If you would like to see more lore about curios, please feel free to check out my other two videos where I go over the regular simulated universes curios, including negative curios and error code curios. It has been a lot of fun being able to discuss these with you guys, and it's honestly just great to be able to learn more about the lore while making these videos. Just as a quick disclaimer, I want to say that there are two curios that we're not going to be covering in this part, those ones being the Sealing Wax of Erudition and the Sealing Wax of Propagation, because they have the same description as all the other Sealing Waxes, and we've already covered them. Additionally, the way that this video is formatted is I'm going to be reading the name of the curio and you'll see the full description of it, so if you wish to pause and read it, you can do so. Alternatively, after I finish reading the name of the curio, I'll start narrating all of the lore, and then if I feel like there's something that I would like to add, I'm going to be commenting about it immediately after I finish talking about the curio story. With all that being said, let us dive in and see the lore of the Swarm Disaster and Golden Gear curios. A pinch of bearded gunpowder. Compared to currencies of stone, wood, gold, or supernium metals, the nomadic miners are more obsessed with the excavation of ether. There was a period when they were infatuated with the sensation of digging vast quantities of ether using their bare hands while in the mines. But these experiences brought calamity upon them. Several large-stature miners finally met their ends via exploding gunpowder in unknown areas. While only a short and small miner managed to survive, its beard henceforth always flickered with a pinch of flame. The metal of the Glorybound Era. 100 Amber Eras ago, after the proliferation of the Amber Era system and the Synesthesia Beacon, interstellar trade continued to develop and resource exchange became a pressing matter. A few planets ascended to become bustling interstellar hubs, signaling the onset of the second prosperity termed the Glorybound Era. The second prosperity endured for nearly 500 Amber Eras before entering a gradual decline. But not even the apocalyptic interstellar energy war could erase its resplendent achievements. At the same time, Nous, the Erudition, unexpectedly terminated their calculations regarding the mysteries of the universe. The spirit of the Knights of Beauty. The faction that likes dealing with the Knights of Beauty the most are most likely the Masked Fools. These fools like to amuse themselves by exploiting the Knights' faith in the eventual return of Idrilla, while the Knights themselves remained ever pious and obstinate practitioners in the way of the beauty. Due to the reasons listed above, the mourning actors developed a sense of empathy for the Knights from the spirit that they demonstrated, and they collected a tooth sacrificed by the Knight of Beauty in their practice of seeking aesthetic perfection, with the tooth's desirability enduring even till the present day. There are two things that I would like to comment on this curio. The first one is that it is incredibly messed up that the Masked Fools would just exploit the Knights of Beauty like this, especially their belief in the Aeon of Beauty, the Idrilla, like that. I'm surprised that the mourning actors would be able to empathize with them, although I guess it makes sense given the fact that the mourning actors hate the Masked Fools. It's still a little bit creepy that they just kept one of the teeth from the Knight of Beauty. Kind of disturbing, but I digress. The second thing that I wanted to talk about is about one of the curios that we talked about in part 1 of this series, the Robe of Beauty. Because somebody brought up to my attention that it is quite surprising that the beauty used to be bowed down in the entire universe. Like, everybody knew the beauty and respected the beauty, and now this Aeon is completely forgotten. Nobody really knows about the beauty. Nobody even like cares about the beauty other than the knights. And whenever the knights talk about Idrilla, they're kind of just seen as a little bit crazy. Like, we see that perfectly clear with Argenti. So the fact that in lore this happened is shocking. I wonder whether like Aeons could have existed in the past that just disappeared from the history records and everything. The Tousled Detective. The Interastral Peace Corporation once created a great many variety shows that are now held by the traditional project department due to poor sales. According to rumors from the transport fleet from the ports of the retirement planets, Arita, the amiable and kind old manager of the traditional project department, was deeply interested in a show about a certain Tousled Detective. After replaying the show consecutively for 63 system hours, the staff suspected that maybe the talented variety show detective might have reminded him of his star-shaking past during the days of his youth. The triangular drumroll device. In the age when Enna the Order still lived, extraordinary leaps in civilization on certain planets would be accompanied by pure and fortuitous hymns congratulating them from far away. These songs of praise resembled divine blessings, and their melody were not limited to the form of the traditional octaves, with their harmonies creating ever new combinations, never duplicating. The Beyond the Sky Choir revered how this melody infinitely varied and yet always stayed within the realms of the Order, thus seeking to create a triangular drumroll device to replicate this infinite spectrum of notes. The Vile Mechanical Satellite number 900. The Charon-Targan System Alliance's economic operations are supported by the sales of their two types of thought-altering devices. Should the outside wish to reach the Alliance, they must pass through the neural pathways of the Titanic Intellitron lifeform. It is said that the Charon-Targan System Alliance is hostile to all organic life, and is a very typical anti-organic civilization in the ruthless tactics it employs against its foes. One of their many instruments of ruination, Satellite number 900, stands amongst the vilest of them all. However, the satellite was ultimately disregarded by the denizens of the Charon-Targan Alliance due to its obvious and proud mechanical visage, which integrated poorly with the populace who had taken to disguising themselves as organics. This curio is really interesting because it makes me like overthink a lot of things again. Mainly the fact that we know that this satellite was created to obliterate organic beings, yet for some reason, the inorganic beings that lived in Charon-Targan Alliance decided to start looking like organic beings. Could this be somewhat related to Intellitrons? Because we know Intellitrons, they are essentially, they're trying to look like human. They designed their robotic carcasses to look humanoid. And we know that because there are other robots that don't, such as the Arumatons in the Xianzhou Laofu. And again, this also makes me wonder if this is something that will be related to Pearl, because that Stoneheart is also a Intellitron that is trying to look more humanoid. I want to make a quick intermission here, just to let it sink in, that we have covered every single curio from the Swarm Disaster. it was literally just that few. I know that there were other curios that were added, but those were added into regular simulated universe as well, so I have covered them in the previous 2 parts that you can find in my channel, and I'm really hoping that you guys have been enjoying this series so far. I know it's been a lot of fun to just dive into the lore and figure things out, the implications of things. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what have been curios that you have been enjoying, and I'll also be giving out like my thoughts as always. You all are genuinely the best. I appreciate each and every single one of y'all. So let us continue on with the video. The A-Raun Pouch. The Genius Society is awash with legendary figures, and so there are always people who wish to rank the creations of each genius. Ruanmei's pouch stands at the forefront of such creations. It is said that she wished to carry the universe in her pocket, yet was forced to seal it when the dimensionality within continued to expand. The A-Raun Pouch spent the remainder of its time in the display window. Stephen Lloyd once viewed it as his important companion for some reason. He never revealed to anyone how he contemplated hiding within the pouch to avoid his family. Oh no! So, this curio stands out to me because it genuinely is hilarious. I love the idea of this being essentially a bag of holding as well, like one of the previous curios that we've seen. But I think what sells it to me is how Stephen Lloyd, my introverted king, just decided to use this to hide away from his family. What do you mean he's just able to fit in there? And like, I know that there's an entire universe, but like being able to enter a pouch just seems very funny in my head. I don't know. The Indecipherable Box. A box that can predict the thoughts of the one who opens it. When the box's hatch is lifted, the item within will manifest into what your mind envisions. Herta once rated it as one of the hardest curios to deal with. She had butted heads with the Indecipherable Box numerous times, but never was she able to control the thoughts in her mind when she opened it. Finally, she cast it down and never touched it again. Perhaps Herta is capable of almost anything, except completely emptying her mind. Honestly, I just love this curio because it really does just confirm that that one animation about Herta cooking is completely accurate. Like, she doesn't even have the attention span to be able to cook a cake in peace. And like, you know, like halfway through the process, she just leaves the mini Hertas to do like the thing for her. And I feel like this just backs up my in-head idea that like the Herta has ADHD. I don't know, that's just genuinely what I believe. I'm not sure if they will ever be addressed within the lore, but I just think that that is going to be the case. Jellyfish on the staircase. The Riddlers have a saying. Every time that an enigma manifests in the universe, it will leave behind a staircase in the void. The dissolved realities will then drip down the steps, condensing into a mottled thing bearing the resemblance to a jellyfish. There was once a nameless who claimed to have made contact with a jellyfish on the staircase. In madness, he proclaimed that the jellyfish will activate the cognition regions within the gray matter of one's brain, a vast place beyond the fathoming of mortal minds. I want to talk about this curio, because it really did just set off some alarm in my brain when I heard the word enigma, and yes, you would be right. The Riddlers are followers of the path of the Enigmata, meaning that just like the history fictionologists, these people adore mythos. However, being not from the same faction means that they do different things. While the history fictionologists decide to recreate history and alter facts, these people decided to go after the language, making sure that it makes less sense, transforming concrete wording into metaphors, just being able to alter the word order of things, And one of my favorite ones is that they apparently tamper with the definition of things just to be able to disorganize the original precise language as stated by like the game itself in that last part. I feel like these people would be in charge of brain rotting the language. Like the Riddlers are the people in TikTok that butchered the English language. The King of Sponges. In the Black Forest, a sponge miraculously became sapient. It tried to interact with the similarly sapient screws, but found itself hitting a brick wall. It pondered about its painful experience and learned to smooth away all the edges and its personality, allowing itself to constantly shine and climb up the societal ladder, ultimately turning into a smooth and slick sponge. Now, it dedicates its efforts to uplifting discarded sponges into developing their own self-awareness. I'm sorry, what? Legitimately speaking, you're telling me that there's a sponge that is trying to get other inorganic, non-sentient sponges to be able to become sentient. What I think worries me the most is if sponges are able to become sentient. I don't know, that's just something that came into my mind that worries me. Also, I feel like this would be something that Dr. Primitive would just love to investigate, given how he wants to cultivate like knowledge from zero. I don't know, maybe this would be a cool place for us to meet Dr. Primitive. The mysterious Magnetism. To combat the determinacy of erudition, the Riddlers performed a great deal of labor in aspects of knowledge that has yet to be set in stone. They inserted the fog of thought and the rain of sensation into a single prismatic lens, and their combined colors shifted endlessly to form a magnetic field that can disturb the senses. Revelrous in their success, the Riddlers sought to push this line of research onward, but were made to stop. For the more they committed to this study, the more they grew uncertain of the necessity of its continuation. The organic heart. Mechanical life forms also have stereotypes for organics. For example, take this heart merged with an apple, or an apple merged with a heart. Unfortunately, the nature of this question will remain forever inconclusive. Its creator, Dr. Olsen, was accused of being too cognizant of the organic world and was resolved by the Machine Empire during the war. Undoubtedly, only an organic lifeform could have proven his innocence. The price of peace. The Amber Lord support group rapidly expanded in the years after the Swarm disaster, establishing themselves as the Interastral Peace Corporation, flourishing to unreachable heights. But, affected by the Border Star Trade War and the Emperor's War, their road towards interastral peace grew increasingly arduous. After more than 10 Amber Eras, this war ended with the fall of the Machine Empire. The universe finally welcomed the Second Prosperity that would last for hundreds of Amber Eras. People believed this era of prosperity would never end, until the day the even more terrifying interstellar energy war lifted its curtains. I believe that while reading all the Curios, this is the second time that they have mentioned the interastral energy war. So this is something that I will be hoping to investigate further, and if there ever is enough information for me to make like a little summary of it, I definitely would love to do so. Right now I have no idea, but just gonna put that thought out there. Rationality's fall. What is truth? No one truly knows. Supposing that stupidity is an incurable disease in this world, then disseminating knowledge counts as a treatment for the universe. But can books mend all living things? According to the Intelligentsia Guild's historical records, The Philosopher Union of the Laurel Wreath Galaxy once erupted in a civil war, and blood and machine oil had stained all the books in the Contemplators' corridors. Uncountable number of scholars died, and the IPC employees who witnessed it all deemed this occurrence Rationality's fall. Through such absurd means, books cleansed a world of its impurities once more. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, the moment that they said if stupidity was a disease and if disseminating knowledge was a cure, my first thought was Dr. Ratio. I want to assume that this Curio, or at least part of this lore, might be related to him, especially because they talk about the Intelligentsia Guild and things like that. So, yeah, I don't know, just like random thought out there. The rotting fruit of the alien tree. The Elixir Seekers once found a rotten fruit of the alien tree. The color of its skin was already odd, having shifted from a faint yellow to a powdery blue. To understand the pharmacology behind this fruit, a pair of Elixir Seeker twins separately ingested a normal fruit of the alien tree and a rotten version. One of them immediately welcomed the metamorphosis, while the other instantly perished. But because there was no third party present, no one could confirm which twin survived, or which fruit he consumed. Okay, this Curio, this one right here, I have been wanting to talk about for a while because it makes me overthink the current Xianzhou storyline. One of the main keywords that they use is metamorphosis. And what is metamorphosis associated to? Bugs, in particular, the propagation. And what is currently happening within the lore? They're trying to use the remains of Taysenronth to execute the abundance. Possibly to try to rot it, if it was the case of, this, we don't know which of the two twins survived, whether it be the one that ate the rotten fruit or the regular fruit. But imagine if the path of propagation was actually just affiliated with the abundance, given how similar they are, because they both kind of just exist to reproduce, grow, and expand. Like, I know it's not necessarily the abundance's main purposes, but look at it in the way that it's existing. It slowly but surely starts consuming over, like, civilizations, growing ever so infinitely until it eventually just covers everything, right? I don't know, maybe just some food for thought, maybe I'm just completely crazy, but this is one of the curios that I really hope gets touched on in the future Xianzhou storyline. A wish upon a star. Meteorites fell across all corners of the cosmos. People once claimed they could hear these rocks communicating with humans, luring people to wish upon them. Can they truly grant any and all wishes without a cost? It's said that there is an organization that strikes between stars solely to uncover the mystery behind these meteorites. No one knows whether these rocks are an Aeon's blessing or whether everyone has been drawn into an artificial conspiracy. The Ashheart Cihpertech. Following the Machine Era calendar, on this day at 1 at night, the Ashheart Cihpertech rebooted itself once more. It rebuilt the code comprising its body over and over, breaking them, assembling them, but never escaping the final result of utter despondency, as hopeless as ashes and cinders. After trying over and over for 3,600 times, it finally realized the meaning of its own sequence code was Ashheart itself. The Cognito Averagifier Communal Nexus. Following the Machine Era calendar, on this day at 3 in the afternoon, the invasive Cognito Averagifier entered the mind of an arrogant organic individual in the mechanical city. The Cognito Averagifier dealt him heartbreak. He realized that the limit of all his talents could only brush against the most average member of the community. But he did not despair, for soon he learned to master this new and unique skill, concealing his flurry of emotions from the inorganic masses, becoming the most average of all machines, and embarking on the path of equilibrium. I genuinely love this Curio because the implications of this super arrogant, possibly incredibly smart person just being one day told like you are now average and all of your knowledge will now forever be average is just really, really sad. At the same time, it is really interesting how he was able to just reprogram himself, quote unquote, to whatever he saw best fit. In the idea of being an average human and being an average computer means completely different things. And as such, I think he possibly just increased his knowledge through that. I also do find it really intriguing that he ended up becoming obsessed with becoming average to the point that that actually led him to go towards the equilibrium. And this is the first time I think we've ever heard of the equilibrium within like any part of the lore. So I need to know more. The Cognito Invalidator Code Builder. When will the human race become machines? And when will machines become human? Following the Machine Era calendar, on this day at 3 in the afternoon, the invasive Cognito Invalidator entered the mind of a certain organic individual in the mechanical city. At the start, he was helpless against the uncontrolled thoughts in his own mind. Then, he realized writing notes could help him effectively counter the anxiety and meaninglessness of the Cognito Invalidator inflicted on him. So, he began to write, spewing forth words, expelling the chaotic and incoherent noises in his head that remained deafeningly loud, despite being bereft of substance. He produced lines and lines of error code. This eventually drew the Riddler's attention. The Revelrous Rainbowmaker. Following the Machine Era calendar, on this day at 6 in the morning, the invasive Revelrous entered the mind of a mono-horned beast in the mechanical city. Only paltry few unmodified animals remained in the city. Hence, fueled by the Revelrous contagion, the mono-horned beast was able to overcome all manner of despairing defeats, awkward incidents, and crippling moments of dread. Sadness became joy for it, pain became pleasure, and pressure became a trigger for secreting excitatory neurotransmitters. Until one day it realized it had taught itself how to convert mood into a freely adjustable parameter. Thereafter, its confidence was perpetually high and unshakable, turning into a rainbow radiant unicorn. The Wildminder Machine Cell. I've seen Emperor Rupert. Following the Machine Era calendar, on this day at 9 in the evening, the invasive Wildminder entered the thoughts of a certain brain in a jar in the Machine City. It was unable to distinguish whether itself was organic, inorganic, or just a gaseous life form. It claimed to have met the Emperor, only to break away from the Wildminder in its head. The thoughts slammed the limits of his brain, overloading its thoughts to the point of exhaustion. But after Rupert fixed a single line of unmarkable code, it awakened from its haze, coming to the realization that none of this had happened, that it had only been another illusion. So yeah, with that we have covered every single curio that can be found within the Swarm Disaster and the Golden Gears expansion module. In all honesty, it has been a lot of fun to go over them with you guys, and I've been adoring being able to talk with you guys down in the comments. It's honestly so lovely. As always, feel free to leave down in the comments below what your favorite curio was, or what curio you think might be like lore relevant or interesting or intriguing or terrifying. I know that there's a whole variety of them, so I would love to hear your guys' opinions and open up civil discussion. It's always great to be able to just like theory craft and look about like the implications in the lore and such. I don't know. I know that I have a lot of fun. So yeah, with all that being said, if you enjoy this sort of content and would like to see more, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It's free. It only takes a second. And if at any point you feel like this is not the type of content for you, or you're just not entertained by it anymore, you're more than welcome to unsubscribe. I know that it helps me grow, and it lets me know that you guys are not vibing with the type of content that I'm making, and therefore I need to improve, do better, and such, you know? As always, I just want to say, by the way, real quick, before I actually sign off everything, thank you guys for helping us reach 3,600 subscribers today. That is wild. It is crazy, and I am genuinely mind blown that we're reaching here. We're on our way to 4,000, so let us keep on growing stronger and stronger. Y'all are amazing. So yeah, just thank you so much. I'll see you all in the next video, which I know that it's probably like a bad idea to add this at the very end. I'm not sure if tomorrow there will be a video, because tomorrow is my birthday. So I have no idea if I really want to be editing during that day. I'll see. If there is a video, I'll post about it in the community tab. If there is no video, I will post about it in the community tab. Otherwise, yeah, just there might be a video. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. But all that being said, again, just thank you all so much for an amazing year that we've been having. And yeah, I'll see you all. Bye-bye.